Hello everybody and welcome to the Ferret Gibbon podcast. Thank you all for joining me again today. I know it's been a little while since I last spoke to you all. It's been a bit busy in the life of Claire, so for one thing or another, with various drumming commitments, with Clean Air Day, which the charity that I work for organises, with various other things that have been going on, there's just not been a lot of brain space available for doing this. But I did want to catch up with all you. I did want to catch up with you all again and say hello. Hi. You can tell that since, or you might be able to tell that since I last spoke to you, we've moved from spring into summer already, and my tree is reflecting that. We've now got a bit of greenery on there. There's definitely reflecting on the outdoors. I've also, in my first little crafty make, added things that I should have prepared earlier. Added these little birdies to my tree. So this is from a little cross-stitch kit that came from a magazine. My mother-in-law, who has unfortunately passed away recently, but she gave these little kits to me a couple of years ago for me to make, and I never got around to doing it, but I thought I would crack on with that now. So I've made this a couple of these little cute little birdies with a little cross-stitch detail in the middle that can now hang in my tree in the summertime to add to its general summery-ness. There's 3 of them, 2 white ones and a blue one, and I think they're very cute and I'm very pleased with them. They're a really simple little make. It's 2 pieces of felt, a tiny little circle of cross-stitching, glue it all together, and then I've just sewed up around the edges just to keep it a bit contained, safe, pretty, all of those things. But the glue is the thing that does it most, because some days you need glue. Anyway, so what's been happening since we last spoke? Quite a bit of knitting. Got a couple of finished projects to show you. A little bit of yarny acquisition, which is always fun. And a few plans for future projects. So, let's crack on. So, finished object number 1 is my boxy sweater. So, this, and I'll give you a full view of it in a minute, this is the boxy sweater by Hohi Locatelli. This is the fingering weight version, but rather than knitting it with actual fingering weight yarn, what I had a lot of cones of lace weight / cobweb weight yarn, thousands of meters of the stuff. So I have, let me see if I can show this. What I did was I wound the 3 skeins together. I started trying by knitting directly from the 3 cones at once, and yeah, I was just getting myself in a tangle, and also not practical for commute knitting. So instead I've run off a lot and just held the 3 strands together so it's into this sort of mixed cake, and then knit directly from the cake, which is giving this lovely sort of variegated effect, and it's a beautiful drapey fabric. I finished it a little while ago and I've been wearing it quite a lot, but I actually only got around to blocking it for the first time yesterday, and I was enjoying wearing it so much. I was like, oh, I'm not sure blocking's going to make that much difference. Oh my god, this morning it feels amazing. It's the fabric has got even softer and drapier and more consistent, and block your knits. Basically what I'm saying is block your knits. It's important, we do it for a reason. But yeah, so this is the boxy sweater by Hohi Locatelli. So let me just spin around a little bit there so I can stand up and show you. So obviously, because I'm quite a fat person already, I knit the largest size, but still got loads and loads of ease in it. So it did feel at times a little bit like the project that would never end, but really pleased with it. So it's a lovely drapey fabric. It's technically cropped, but actually it sits quite well on me because I've got a relatively short torso. So yeah, lovely short sleeves, lovely details on the shoulders, which you can't see as much on this version because of the mottling on the fabric, but I'm super pleased with this. It's so lightweight and floaty. It's perfect for, well, British summer, where technically summer, but often still quite chilly. So yeah, super pleased with this. It took me about, well, when I last recorded, which was about 2 months ago, I'd finished about that much, I think, of this sweater. So this has been about 2 months to get this finished. And yeah, I'm super pleased with it. I am already tempted to cast on another one, which would make it my third boxy, because I also finished the worsted weight version. So this is, I'm trying to hold this up to the screen. I mean, honestly, I'll try this on in a moment so you can see this again. So this is the worsted weight version of the same sweater, which I was working on at the same time. This is in Manos del Uruguay something, can't remember which yarn. It'll be in the notes below. I definitely mentioned it last time. It's the Passionflower colour, I know that, I just can't remember which particular of the Manos del Uruguay yarns it is. But again, this, I'm super pleased with this. Again, I knit the largest size. And yeah, pause for 1 second while I put it on for you. Ta-da! Yeah, so here is my worsted weight boxy. Again, it's the same shape essentially. This one was quicker to finish than the fingering weight because worsted weight. And yeah, I'm super pleased with it. I think it's come together really nicely. And it's very comfortable. Very wearable in the slightly cooler months. It's now that we're in summer, it's a little bit too warm to wear this on most days, but see if I can get up there so again you can still see the sort of the length of it and size of it, same kind of shape. So that's the worsted weight boxy. So 2 boxies complete in about, well, probably in total 3 months to complete both of them. So I think that's pretty good. I'm quite happy with actually how that's turned out. So back into my fingering weight one because summer. So yeah, two big finished objects, and yeah, so I'm really pleased with both of them. I would definitely be tempted to knit another boxy because it's just super comfortable, super easy to wear. Particularly with the kind of things, the sort of the dresses that I wear, it's so easy to just chuck on over the top of a dress, and feels very comfortable, but looks quite smart. Smart for me, not smart for me, smart. So yeah, I'm really pleased with it. Yeah, super proud. Those are my first two knitted sweaters. So thumbs up, really pleased. And I've got one other finished object to show you as well. So hidden in the big pile. As I'm sure you're aware, this month is Pride Month. As you may or may not be aware, I am queer. I call myself bi because that's what I've kind of always called myself, but pan is also fine. It's basically I'll fancy anybody. Yeah, that's me. Hi. But just to celebrate Pride, and as part of the Quiet Queers Knit Along, which you might have seen on Instagram, which I will link to below, you can still take part, I have made these joy mitts, which are a pattern by Isolde, which I am super pleased with. They do come in different patterns, so she's got packs which do trans flag and flags which do the bi flag. She does packs which do the trans flag and I can't say this sentence. From Isolde's shop, you can also buy packs with the different yarns for the colours of the trans flag, or packs with the colours of the yarn for the bi flag as well. I opted just to go for the straight, the normal straight. That's definitely the wrong word to use here. The more traditional, standard recognisable Pride Rainbow. And I'm really pleased with these. These are my first proper pair of, I would say, colour work. Yeah, this is my first colour work project, I think. I've done projects before which were almost colour worky, but were actually just sort of drop stitches between rows, so you're only ever knitting with one colour at a time. So yeah, these are my first colour work project, and I'm super pleased with these. I did get some of the numbers wrong at the start, so I had to bodge it a little bit to get the flags in the right places. But that's no fault of the pattern. That is entirely the fault of Claire. Let me show you the pattern. Ah, there you go. So with the trans flag and with the bi flag as well. This is available to buy as a pack from Isolde, or you can just get the pattern, supply your own yarn. So this, I opted for the pack, and so it comes with a skein of Raumer Phenol PT2, which is the main colour of the body, and then it comes with just enough yarn for all the different colourway bits, so you get a little bit of the red, a little bit of the orange, etc. Which is wonderful, because obviously there's a lot less waste, but there's plenty of it, so you don't have to worry about running out or not having enough. There's, despite, even though you've only get given a little bit each of the colours, there's more than enough for you to fuck up occasionally, like I did. So yeah, not going to be wearing these until winter, but aren't they adorable? I think they're absolutely wonderful, and I am super pleased with these. So thank you to Isolde for the Joy mitts and the pack that goes with them. Also, because queer, last month before, Gamer Crafting put out some queer pins, and I had to buy one because lovely. So I got myself a Pan Stitchwool badge pin for one of my knitting project badges. As I said, I've always called myself bi, but that's just because I'd never heard of the word pan when that sort of, I established that was my identity. But I'm very happy with the word pan as well. And those badges are just, I mean, it's really cute, and it's all glittery, and I do crochet and knit, and yeah, I just think it's lovely. And guess I'm kind of at the moment, and Pride Months, it feels like a very sensible time to have this conversation. I'm kind of becoming more aware of my sexuality as a thing, if that makes sense. So as part of my identity. So I've been married to a cis man for 6 years now. And we're in a closed exclusive marriage, so I don't have relationships with people outside of that. I don't have relationships with women, and so it becomes very easy it could become very easy to pretend to be something that I'm not, and to say that I'm straight, and make life just, I guess, in some ways easier that way. But what I am increasingly deciding to do, and I've never hidden the fact that I'm bi, but it's not something that I go out and talk about a lot, but it is something that's quite an important part of me, and it is something that I've started talking about more and being more visible about. And yeah, it's there, and I think it's important to acknowledge it. And your sexuality is not necessarily linked to who you happen to be sleeping with at that particular time, because life is more complicated than that. Anyway, so when I bought going on to stash acquisition in a perfectly logical sense, when I bought the Joy mitts, I also bought what else did I get? Oh, a book called Wayne, which is folktales reimagined from an LGBT perspective, and I've only read a few of them so far because they're lots of little stories, sort of poems, and they're wonderful. I'm thoroughly enjoying them, the way that they stay really true to the stories but just present them in a very different light, and I just think they're wonderful. I'll link to that book below. I would thoroughly recommend that book. It's aimed really at a younger audience, so it's great for younger children, but it's also wonderful for you. So enjoy it. It's yeah, highly recommend that. The other thing that I got from Isolde's, Russell. The other thing that I got from Isolde, because I'm an absolute sucker for spend over X amount of money and get free postage. And I was really close to getting free postage, but I wasn't quite. So I thought, I'll just get a skein of yarn. And then once I found the yarn that I wanted, I got 4 skeins of yarn. I was supposed to not be spending money, and in fairness, I've spent less than I could have done. That's a really bad excuse. But what I've got here is, this is Tucker Wool fingering weight yarn. So it's 100% finished wool by Tititi. I'm sure my pronunciation is appalling, but links below, as always. Yeah, so Tucker Wool. I was thinking that I'd really quite like to do a nice a shawl of some description with this. Something that it's got a little bit maybe of lace patterning in it or something like that. So something that's just a nice neutral that I can wear in the winter. So I'm hoping that I've got enough there to put something together. These are 50 gram 200 meter skeins, and I think I've got a pattern in mind, but I'm not sure yet. So hopefully next time I might have cast that on and I'll show you what I'm doing with that. But this is a lovely grey, and I figured it's not the same as the mitts, but I think I could get away with wearing them both at the same time. So starting to get ready for winter already, despite the fact that we've only just gone past the summer solstice. But knitting takes time, and you need to be prepared for these things, don't you? Other yarn acquisition. So I have just passed my 10-year work anniversary. So as I mentioned earlier, I work for an environmental charity called Global Action Plan, and we work across. We've changed a lot over the past 10 years. When I started working there in the small business team, so working with really tiny businesses and helping them to understand how they could reduce the amount of energy that they were using, improve their recycling facilities. I'd go out and do site audits and help individual people realise that by turning off lights occasionally they would save money and save energy and save the planet. Things have changed quite a lot in the past 10 years, and I'm now doing a lot of work in the air quality space. So we've just had, this past week was Clean Air Day, and I do quite a lot of work on Clean Air Day. And also I recently developed with my team something called the Clean Air Hospital Framework, which is a way for, essentially it's a roadmap for helping hospitals identify what they can do to reduce pollution and in their local environment and reduce the health impact that pollution has on their patients, their staff and their visitors. And so I've been working with people like Great Ormond Street Hospital to implement that, and also now working with a number of other hospitals around London, and it's a resource that we make freely available on the internet, so hospitals anywhere around the world can download the Clean Air Hospital Framework and start to work out where they are and what the things are that they could do to improve the air quality around them. Anyway, this is all a very long-winded way of saying, so yes, it was my 10-year anniversary at Global Action Plan last month, and because my colleagues are lovely, they clubbed together and bought me some yarn. Well, they bought me yarn vouchers because they know me, and then I went and bought me some yarn, which is even better, really. So, off the table. Sorry for getting so close to the camera, I apologise. I have got 5 skeins of, because fat and therefore need 5 skeins to do a sweater's quantity of anything. I have got 5 skeins of this beauty, which is the Uncommon Thread Tough Sock. It is 80% superwash blue faced Leicester, 20% nylon. It's 366 metres to a 100-gram skein, and it is this gorgeous grey with these tiny little pops of colour throughout it. So there's little pops of red and green particularly, and some little bits of yellow throughout. And oh, it's very happy making. So thank you very much to everybody at Global Action Plan for this. And with this, I've cast on already. Let me see if I can show you what I'm doing. So here it is in cake form. And I've decided to make the Light Trails sweater by somebody whose name escapes me, and I've been ill prepared today and haven't brought my laptop out, so I can't look it up for you. It'll be below in the links. But it's I'm certain you will have seen it before. It's a sweater that has like these sort of cable patterns that come down the shoulders, and it's fairly plain for the rest of it. But what I've done so far is I have one of those cable panels done. So you can see those, which are very sweet. So that's bit one of sweater, which kind of go like that. Still a long way to go. Actually, that's the go like that. And I've cast on the second bit of that. And it's very pretty. I'm very happy with it so far. The yarn is really nice to work with. My knitting is at a slightly looser gauge, I think, than recommended by the pattern, but also the pattern doesn't technically go quite as large as I need it to go anyway, so that'll even itself out in the wash. It's not sufficiently extra gaugey, that's not a phrase. It's not so loose that I'm going to be unhappy with the fabric, but hopefully it might give me an extra inch or two, because it's an oversized Positive Ease garment, and once you take the recommended ease into consideration, the pattern no longer actually goes up to my size. Knit designers, please do better. Thank you, would really appreciate that. So I'm having to sort of do a little bit of wiggling with the gauge to make it work. I think it will all be fine. It would be so much easier if patterns are just sized better, but and I could have picked a different sweater, but your options are limited, and for the kind of look that I was going for, that was the one that fit best in terms of look. Yeah, it would be so much better, and I'd be much happier if more designers went up to larger sizes, and not just larger sizes so that I can knit it, but larger sizes so that other people who are even more excluded than I am can knit things as well. But hopefully this one will come together for me for now. So yes, lovely free yarn. Well, free yarn. That's always nice. Gifted yarn. They know me well. While the actual date of my the celebration that we had, they made a little bit of a fuss of me during one of our big staff meetings, which was horrifically embarrassing and not my favourite thing, but I really appreciate them for doing it. It just makes me feel intensely uncomfortable when people talk about me when I'm there. But one of my bosses that's been there forever, he was on holiday during this time, and then when he came back, he also brought me yarn because yay. So he had been up to Iceland for a little while, and he went, "Oh, I found some yarn in a shop. I thought you might like it." I was like, "Oh, what's that then?" It's some Let Lopi, which I've not tried yet, so I'm super excited to try a little bit of Let Lopi. So if you haven't seen this before, this is Icelandic wool. It's quite rustic at the moment. You can hear it's got quite a lot of crunch to it. I mean, that's partly the band that you can hear, but never mind. So these are 50-gram skeins, 100 metres each, and I have 3 of them. Look at these beautiful colours. So I'm thinking hat. I'm thinking these might have to be a really lovely colour work hat to get me to try some more colour work. But ooh, look at the pretty. Yay. So what else have I got to show you? 2 more things? I think it's 2 more. We'll see. There might be something else hidden under this pile. I've been making more progress on my wingspan shawl, which is nearly finished now. That's all the yarn that I've got left, and it's a 1 skein shawl, so I'm just going to keep going until I've used that up. And let's see if I can... It's difficult to show now because the needles aren't really long enough, but this is how this is looking at the moment. It's got these lovely fan detail, these different wedges, and yeah, I'm super pleased with this. So this is constructed using short rows. It's just garter stitch, knitting and short rows, and which makes for really good commute knitting because it doesn't involve too much thinking. It's a really good pattern, because as well as the pattern for sort of this standard version of the shawl, the pattern also contains lots of information on how to adjust it. So if you want it deeper or steeper or curved, or the blocks to be in different sizes, all of that's addressed in the pattern, so you could then create loads of different versions of this. There's also versions in the pattern for like a version with like a tattered fringe and all sorts. It's, again, I'll link to it below, but it's a really good value pattern for how much instruction and how much pattern you get for your money. So that's really nice. And yeah, I'm so very close to finishing this now. I was hoping to finish it on the train home the other night after I missed my train by 20 seconds and had to wait an hour on the platform for the next one. I was hoping to get it finished on the train home then, but decided that it was late and I was going to sleep on the train instead. Set an alarm, wake me up when I got home. But yeah, so that one's nearly done. So that will be a nice little short addition to the pile. And then I've also done some work since we last spoke on my With Ease shawl. It's still a long way from being finished, but this one is growing out a little bit as well. I'm still miffed at this changing the colours and the colourways that I had to buy, but I'm just going with it. It will still be wonderful, and I think it will still look good. It's just... that's not a little bit of variation between skeins. That's a whole different colour type. And breathe. It'll be fine. And it is the squishiest. It's so soft. It's going to be wonderful. And I'm going to call the changing colour a feature. I meant to do it like that all along. But yeah, actually, this is a really fun pattern. The only problem is that I can't remember it. So I do have to keep referring back to the pattern. The pattern repeat is just that little bit too complicated that I can't keep it in my head. So I have to follow the pattern as I go, but it's still quite an enjoyable one. It's quite easy for the effect that you get, and I really like it. The stripes, the yellow stripes, aren't in the pattern. It was shown as just a single colour pattern, but I just fancied a bit of yellow because grey and yellow. I like grey and yellow. But yeah, so that's still progressing as well. I still got a ways to go on it, but pick it up occasionally and do a few inches and put it back down again. And that's now all spilling out of the bag. I'll fix that later. And I think that's everything I've got to share with you. But, 3 finished objects, 2 free in progress objects, and some yarn acquisition, discussion about queerness and air quality. So, that's all wrapped up in one package, isn't it? And we're keeping it short. So cheers. Have a lovely time, and I will hopefully see you in a little bit faster than I did last time. So here's to something within the next month rather than the next 2 months.